Welcome to the Tiny House Ideas podcast. Welcome to episode 10 of the Tiny House Ideas podcast. Today I'm joined by Ida and her cat Teo, and we're going to be talking about how she's acclimatized to living tiny, about her tiny house in particular. I know it's really popular when I posted it on Instagram recently, so stay tuned for some more pictures and to hear a greater insight into her home, how she lives. We'll also be discussing living off the grid, sustainability, composting toilets, and lots more. And it's interesting to note as well that Ida describes her house as being the same as a luxury apartment but for a fraction of the cost, so we'll be discussing how she hasn't been able to scrimp on any of the luxuries, how her tiny house has everything that you need, everything that anyone needs really. And yeah, so stay tuned to hear more about the sustainable, minimal aspect of tiny living and Ida's personal experience. Welcome to the Tiny House Ideas podcast, the show where we talk about how to live a more fulfilling life with less. My name's Harry Alvarez-Garman, and I've got tons of exciting guests lined up for you, including authors, entrepreneurs and tiny house owners. If you love minimalism, sustainable living, personal development and everything in between, then you're in the right place. On this show, we'll be talking about how you can do more of what you love, how to turn your passion into a career, and how to live more sustainably.
Hello, my name is Ida, and I live in a tiny house on wheels. Here in Norway, we call it mikrohus. It's like tiny house. And I live together with my cat, Theo. He's just beside me. I'm just going to check if he wants to say hello. Yes, he wants. He's not very happy, but yeah, you've seen him.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to sleep. So yeah, we have lived here since January this year, 2020. So a little bit more than half a year. Yes.
Brilliant. That sounds. So what got you interested in tiny houses?
Well, for a while ago, I started to watching minimalism on Netflix. And that was like before I even thought about getting something for me. I was so inspired by their, minimalism when it comes to clothes, when it comes to so much more. Yeah. And after like working with that as a like material for like education myself for 2 years before I even bought or thought about a micro house, I was like taking away items in my home and decluttering. And then I thought like, yeah, these houses, they seem cool, but I'm sure we don't have those in Norway.
So how have you found it? How has it been living in such a small space?
How I find it now?
Yeah.
Super nice. And I would say because I have rented apartments forever. So this is my first home. And even if it's like on the paper, 22 square meters, I mean, it feels so much bigger. It feels like it's an apartment. You get space for everything you need. And because also everything is so well planned. You can have a big apartment, but with really bad planning, it feels small. And also because it's on wheels and you can put it wherever you want, it's you can have as much space as you want. You can have a terrace or a balcony or like even a garden, depends what you like in just that moment.
Yeah, definitely. And you can always change it if you change your mind later on.
Yeah.
Parking space where you are now, what's the view like? What sort of area are you in?
Well, it's because right now I'm not in the house, but where I live with the house now and where I've lived this half year, it's like it's on a farm. And when I go out, open the doors in the morning, there's like this beautiful, beautiful view. And the sun goes up right in front of me. And I'm always going out there and just let the fresh air in. My cat, Theo, he's like walking around and I'm having a cup of coffee or a smoothie on the staircase. And it's just open view over the landscape. It's like fields, depending on what time of the year it is, and it's so pretty, and you see it's like
that's lovely.
You see for miles. It's so pretty.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. God, that sounds so nice.
I'm from the country, so for me I feel like home.
Brilliant. So have you sort of found that being in a tiny house has given you more time, more chance to be outside, to do more of what you enjoy doing?
Yeah, I mean, I feel I get more outdoor and more sun on my face because it's so easy. It's just to
Yeah,
open the
exactly.
doors in the morning and let the fresh
Yeah.
air in and go out in the sun. So, and I can almost just sit inside and the sun is coming into me. So
Yeah.
even in March, April, when it was cold outside, I could open, sit inside and get the sunlight. So I was sitting there in bikini and just like, woohoo, get tanned.
Oh,
so
good.
so yeah, you know, if you have a balcony or something like that, a terrace, then you sit in there, it's getting that fresh air. It's very nice. So yeah, closer to nature.
So obviously earlier we spoke about how you'd think about doing things differently, or any advice to yourself. What would you say to someone that's currently looking at buying a tiny house or moving into a tiny house? Would you give them any advice?
Yeah, I would say, like, think about what's important for you, what you want to, for example, it's so small space. So do you have anything you want to put on the walls? And what should that be? And because everything looks together, you get like this, you see everything. It's not different room. Everything goes together. So a little bit look, does the curtains, the pillows, how does it look together? And also maybe you should like with curtains and shelves and those things, you should have something that works with the rest of the house. Maybe not too well, do you like colors, but do you also like this color in 2 years? So those shelves and those things, that lamps, you should get things that are good quality things and that suits good with everything. So you have like the whole red,
Exactly. And I think
nice
that goes back to I think that goes back to what we were saying earlier about how doing your research is so important. And it's the same as you researching a piece of land to put the house on. It's the same as researching where you want things to go, and also having the flexibility, like you said, because I mean, similar to you, I was the same. I was moving my bed around every few weeks. I was moving where the pictures were on the wall at home. It's good to have flexibility to change your mind if you want to in the future, which is really important. I remembered what I was going to say earlier. We were talking about the kitchen and how it's sort of easier to manage less things. Have you also found that obviously being in a smaller space, I'm sure that's cut down the amount of time that you have to spend cleaning, the amount of time that you have to sort of spend maintaining stuff? Has that made a big difference for you?
Yeah, I mean, if I am going to clean, like really, really clean my home with, vacuum cleaner, take the floor, everything, it takes 1 hour. More, it doesn't. And then I have cleaned like really, really.
Real deep clean.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
So that's very good. Yeah. But and also one thing I should say is, if you are going to move to a tiny home, you should look on the things that you already have, because that's your style, and you maybe have lovely things, furnitures, photos, could be anything, pillows that you want to bring to your new home. You should take that with you, but you should take the best, the very best, with high quality, with the highest memories, that brings you most joy. Bring that to your new home, because then you are going to have a home that's nothing like any other home. Because I bought my home on a company's, all of the houses looks pretty much the same, but because I took my grandmother's shares, I took my I have found some shelves on the second hand, then it's just my house, my look, and nobody's going to copy that, because they can't. So that's what I think. Just make the home to yours, because it's your home. You should decide how it should look.
It's personal to you, and it's different to everybody else, and it's just nice because I think some people think that because you're moving into a smaller space, you need to throw away everything that's important to you, but you don't. You just need to sort of think what is most important and how can I keep this, and then the things that aren't important will sort of just
Yeah.
disappear anyway, because it's not about sacrifice. It's about sort of
Yeah.
making the most of everything and enjoying what you have.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure
Amazing.
when you're going to move to a tiny home, you have a lot of memories that you can't fit in your tiny home. That maybe you think that, okay, I love this table or this chair or this painting. I love it, but right now I can't have it in my micro house or my tiny house. You shouldn't get rid of that. I'm sure you have a family member or a friend or a family that you can save it in their home while you are like, just save it, because maybe you want it in the future. So you shouldn't get rid of things you like.
Yeah. And I think being able to sort of only have the most important and the best things in your house, like we said earlier, it frees up space in your house, it frees up the time, it frees up the effort and everything. And also in your head, it sort of frees up having to worry about so many different things, and you know where everything is, you know what you want when you need it, and it just makes life a lot easier.
Absolutely.
Amazing. So you said your main advice for someone looking for a tiny house is to do the research, sort of plan everything beforehand, minimize what you have, and then just sort of make sure it's flexible, make sure that it's suited to you, and then you'll be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, that's some really good advice for everyone that's listening. I'm sure I'll take that away. And for people that are listening or that are watching on Instagram or YouTube, there'll be links to all the social medias, to the YouTube channel, everything below to sort of check out and see more about your house. So yeah, I just wanted to say a massive thank you for coming on and speaking to me about your home and giving me some insight into how it's been living, especially through coronavirus. And best of luck with the move to the city, and I hope everything goes well for you.
Thank you so much. And Theo, he's laying here. He says hello to mom. Okay.
Oh, brilliant.
Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye. To listen to the full episode of the Tiny House Ideas podcast, head to your favourite podcast streaming platform. It's available on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, on Google Podcasts. And alternatively, if you'd rather watch the full episode as a video, so the full conversation in a video format, that's only available on Patreon.